Here we go with our turn player once again in the red, starting at the top of the map of Antiga's shipyard. We have our turn player for Team Slayers. It is
Slayers TaeJa.
There he is, spamming it up. And down here in the bottom right is his opponent. He's named after a Pokemon, and he did extremely well in the Team League last week. Will he bring that success to the individual league?
Squirtle.
We talked a little bit about the record for TaeJa, and I just want to mention a couple of players that he won against lately. There were some of the Europeans he faced at Assembly. He took down Elfie with 2-1 and Adelscott with 2-0. In the GSL in November, he was able to win against Squirtle, but he lost to Genius. On the other hand, let's be fair about it, who didn't lose to Genius lately. And I'm a little bit jealous because I'm sitting next to Moltrap right now. Moltrap is getting a massage by Sella, and I'm not quite sure why I don't get one. But I have to say, but Moltrap, whatever you did well.
I needed that too. Thank you.
I just heard, whoa, why leave? What about me? Other time.
Right.
I'll take you up on it.
Alright, we do have this probe, unable to get into TaeJa's base.
There we go.
A clutch supply depot planted down. Now it's Kaldor's turn.
Wow, you look good.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
That's good stuff, huh? And look at this. Juani's in the building as well. It is a party in the GOM studio right now. Anyway, so TaeJa's blocked the scout, so he's not going to be able to see it. Squirtle's not going to be able to see, rather, that TaeJa has not taken gas and is about to plant down a second command center. There it goes.
Talking about massages, by the way, at Assembly we had... No, I'm actually serious now. At Assembly there was a guy who was kind of working for Twitch, Martin the masseuse, whatever. And he was actually giving free massages to all the players. He was working for Twitch, and this guy was just a magician. It is awesome. And apparently he also talked to TLO and a couple of other players in length, because he wanted to give them tips of how to actually, well, some kind of small exercises, what to do, how you can make sure that you don't get like carpal tunnel or whatever. So a lot of players took the advice, and apparently it worked really, really well. And that guy was just amazing. So it's kind of interesting to see what you can do and what you can just avoid if you just pay attention to how you position yourself while playing. If you just stretch before you start playing. So it never occurred to me, but it made a lot of sense when we talked about it with him. So this is something that will definitely grow in esports as well, in my opinion. And yeah, it was pretty cool. But
while
you just pointed it out, and we have it on screen now. We don't only have the robotics facility, but also the Twilight Council. And this could be exactly what I talked about before.
I think so.
The one observer, and then blinking up onto the high ground. If he's not following it up with Dark Shrine, which would be a little bit odd, but no, here it is. Blink upgrade being researched.
Yeah, this is going to be cool. Real quick, while we're giving medical advice, actually, it reminds me of something my eye doctor told me about. I was complaining about some vision problems, and well, I was getting a new prescription. He asked me about my activities. Do you look at computer screen often? Yes. And apparently, it's a good idea to every 15 minutes or so. What you can do to stretch your eyes is, when you look at a screen, it's looking at something close for a long time. It's bad. So what you want to do is, like, let's say after every game when you're laddering, find someplace far away to look at. So something out your window, or down the hall or something like that, and look far, near, far, near, far, near. Do that 4 or 5 times, and then blink your eyes really hard, like kind of squint your eyes a lot. And that apparently is a good way of kind of like stretching for your eyes. Helps your eyes get less tired when you're gaming for a long time.
Cool. I didn't know that. Sounds pretty awesome. Yeah, I think there's just a lot of things that we don't really pay attention to all that much, and especially in professional gaming, we should probably pay more attention to it. And yeah, we have a warp in pylon, by the way. We don't only have one of them, but we have 2. And the stalkers are ready. The observer is headed for the high ground, but the Twilight Council has been scanned. And oh, there he is, TaeJa waiting for his opponent. And the one thing that he can do now, if he pays attention to the map, if he pays attention to the surrounding, and is able to pick off the observer, that would be huge.
That's a really good point. He's also got bunkers everywhere, so he can protect himself against this attack.
Whoa, supply blocks.
But he's got enough of an army to hold this off for the moment. He can wait for those depots to go up. But this is just really nice. He's got a bunker by the blinkable location at the bottom.
Very good
He's got
idea.
a bunker at his ramp as well.
I love the second bunker in the back.
He's even going to use his orbital to block it off so he can't just run up very easily.
The one thing that
Is that actually a
Squirtle
block?
really has to watch out for is the scan. If there's going to be a scan, that would be a problem. But at the same time, we have Squirtle now expanding. As long as he can contain his opponent in the main base, he is in a good position to expand on his own. There's the scan. Not able to pick off the observer. Well done by Squirtle. TaeJa scanning a little bit early.
Yep. And with this pressure, TaeJa is forced to stay in his base, and so Squirtle is getting his second base.
And we have a Dark Shrine coming up now.
Ooh.
Squirtle is following it up with DTs.
Yeah, I don't think these DTs are going to do a ton of damage by themselves, but they'll be a distraction, and he might actually use them to get some Archons later on as well. But with 2 orbitals, it's going to be hard to actually do major damage with Dark Templar.
Oh, nice. We have the Warp Prism as well. So Warp Prism DT drop into the main base. This would be quite the problem for TaeJa because, oh, there's the engineering bay. Nice. So he will be able to get at least a bunch of missile turrets if need be. I don't think he scouted it yet.
No.
No, he did not.
We checked.
No scan. The expansion is ready for TaeJa, by the way. Sorry, for Squirtle. Harvester count is in favor of, well, it's actually about even. A little small lead for Squirtle, but keep the mules in mind.
Yep. Yeah, but the point that is important here is that Squirtle is actually mining from his expansion, whereas TaeJa is stuck up in his base. He could probably try and move down the ramp, but then he would get force fielded.
Yeah, and the thing is, we now have the scouting factory, and it's headed right for the Warp Prism. And it's funny because Squirtle saw it with one of his observers, and that's exactly why he's now dodging it.
Nice.
Very well done. Very, very well done by Squirtle. But is he able to do the damage that he needs to deal? He needs to warp in the DTs first, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do now.
Yep, warping in the DTs in the top right.
Oh, only one?
And he's going to load it up.
Hey, doesn't he really have the resources, does he?
Well, he doesn't want to waste 2 DTs when he at least wants to do just one at a time. He may warp in a second one. Here's the DT dropped in to the main. He's onto it though. The stim goes off. There's the scan. And the DT goes down without a fight. 0 kills, 0 damage.
And the Warp Prism just taunting the Marauders.
That's right. And he's like, well, if you're not going to kill my Warp Prism, I'll just warp in another DT then.
I'm not quite sure if he should really start a focus.
Forces
Awesome.
the scan, and then the Marauders have to sit there picking their noses as the DT jumps up in the Warp Prism again.
Yeah, the Viking is not out yet, so the Warp Prism is uncontested for now. In the middle of the map, we have a small force for TaeJa moving now across.
That's a substantial force, actually. That's a pretty good chunk, considering that Squirtle has not too much back at home. He could actually win this battle. TaeJa with a good concave, stims in, and Blink is not going to save you from this. Nice force fields are going to delay it, though. He can't quite squeeze around. Beautiful work by Squirtle to keep half the army engaged, but it's just not enough. The army was able to squeeze around those force fields, and TaeJa's like, wow, that was easier than I expected. He is definitely happy.
Squirtle at the end is mine, where he was trying to do some damage onto his opponent with the build that we discussed a little bit. Then the DTs didn't work out either. And when he was attacking, suddenly there was TaeJa just everywhere. And the force fields were great, but he lost all the energy. And at the same time, he knew that as soon as the force field collapsed, his opponent would just obliterate his entire force.
Here's the thing. I really don't agree with the Dark Templar. He knows there's 2 orbitals there. Why does he think he's going to get any damage done with Dark Templar? How much damage did the Dark Templar do? 0. They didn't kill a single unit. And
1 SCV.
Okay, they got 1 SCV. I missed that. Okay, he killed 1 SCV with the Dark Templar. That was the Warp Prism. That was 2 Dark Templars. That was the Dark Shrine. That is so many resources. Imagine if he'd gone for a robotics support bay instead and had a Colossus with that army. It would have been a lot better for him, because the thing is his pressure ended up forcing TaeJa to stay in his base so he could get an expansion. All he has to do is make use of the economic advantage he has, and instead he threw away those extra resources on Dark Templar that didn't and wouldn't have done any damage. So I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean, it was a good idea, I guess. The Dark Templars do have the potential to do some major damage, but I think he might have been better off depending on something more certain.
It was not really needed, but well, TaeJa takes it with 2-0, and we are heading into a Terran versus Terran now, featuring Jakji. We have a 5-minute break, and then we are back with our next match, which is going to be the third match of the day. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll be back after a short break.